The Hawkins Farm. I'm going to go through a series here showing the home farm, which we're looking at right now, located at good old Anderson, Ontario. And then, as we move across the home farm to the original farm, where the Hawkinses located 3 generations ago. We see here the back of the home farm, which is predominantly the barn. And later we'll see the stone house, which is in the front. These 2 pieces of land together represent 250 acres. As we move across the landscape, you see the rolling land. And of course some bush that accompanies land in this part of the country. The old sugar bush. We're in the early years. 3 generations ago, sugar was raised and sold as a commercial entity. No longer being done today. And then as we move back behind this bush, we will move on to the 3rd Hawkins farm, still in this part of the country, which is 2nd generation now with Glenn Hawkins. He's still being in the dairy business. And here we see the back of his farm, the silo and barns. Then as we move across his landscape, we come to next neighboring farm, inhabited by Ken Burse. So from this very one strategic location on the hill here, at the back of the original farm, we can see many miles, and we can see 3 Hawkins farms. And here I have done now 360 degrees. And I am coming back here to the original farm where we settled as our family in 1973, and to 15 years to the date when we're relocating. So back here on this hill location, this is the normal view. You have pasture with cattle, bean fields, cornfields, bush, and wide open sky. As you move down over the hill into the lowland, you see a creek that runs across the back of all this property. And of course, one of the things that we've always noted is these beautiful small rocks, which have been a real pain for many years in trying to grow crops. They're good for landscaping, nice to look at, but represent an awful lot of hard work to move them from one place to another. But they do add a certain amount to the landscape. And of course, this is where the glaciers supposedly went through and scooped out this area in the profile. Now I'm down to the bottom of the hill in the lowland, right next to the creek. As I do a close-up here, see bringing the buildings into focus. You also see where we found the material to build the fireplace, which represented some good old-fashioned dynamiting done by a local person, Lloyd Fletcher, with his construction skills. And we simply moved these rocks to our location, built 2 fireplaces in our home here and one in Carlisle, so we can remember why we don't like fieldstones. Here we're looking at the bridge where originally was family swimming hole, which now looks like stagnant water, but in the spring and summer is normally recreational area, excellent for fishing, and has been excellent for swimming, but more recently replaced with swimming pools. Kids today don't swim in scummy water. They go to the lakes for that. We just crossed the creek now. Supposed to head up to the buildings at the back of Eldon Hawkins' location. From this side you even see more of those natural organic materials and where the rock came from was previously referred to. Looking up over the hills now. Here we are coming up in the sugar shack in the old bush. As you can see, there's not much left of it. So it's a very active location, making many gallons of syrup on an annual basis. Old sugar tubs here, which will give you a close-up on the boiling vats for the syrup. And of course, the sap is very easy to come by, as you can see through this hardwood bush. Sap being carried in by horse with the old style cream cans. The views from the buildings, back, the farms, these scruffland, helps you realize how tough it would have been as a settler to develop this land with rolling topography, lots of trees, shrubs, thorn bushes, and stones. This is up in the farmyard. The barn, the original shed, old colony house, large old stone house, used to raise a very large family. Stone houses, of course, made from the original rock, here on the farm as well. Setting back about half a mile from the road. Here we see some of the original equipment, old tractors, forage harvesters. Looking down around an orchard area. And across to our home farm. About a half a mile through the fields. Now we're driving down the road, passing by our neighbors, Bob and LeVon Stevens, and obviously by the looks of their buildings, the silos, the barns, the manure system. Raising about 1,500 hogs annually. back of the farm that we just came from. Now coming up upon the home location, showing you the side yard. Front laneway, the house, and a few relatives visiting for the family picnic reunion. Here we are approaching what we refer to as the Sisson Farm, which we purchased in 1978. A 100-acre farm. You can see with about 20 acres of roughland pasture here at the front. And we pastured cattle in the front. Buildings. House, barn. This will be coming up on in a minute. Even though he says if he's going to be a dairy farmer, this is where he'll start. Pick up his bride in Australia, bring her home here, train her on how to look after a dairy herd rather than kangaroos and sheep. Happy for the rest of his life. Only time will tell whether this tale becomes fact or fiction. Currently living here in the house is David Stanley. He's been a good neighbor. Entering the driveway. You as you go in the driveway. Small shed. Used for equipment. Another small shed which had more rabbits in it than equipment. And the barn originally used for dairy, more recently beef. This is a side view of the farm. Gives you a better view of the silos, the creek which runs through here, which is well known for fishing. Many large pike, 25 inches plus from this creek. Also lots of wildlife here. Turtles, ducks. Back here I'm going to show you the location where Janice says she's going to build her house. It should be right back beside this tree to the left, beside a pond. So when she gets old and gray, she only has about 2 miles of snow before she gets to the road. Normally ducks pass through here in the fall, fly in flocks. So every fall she'll be able to stock her freezer with wild duck, corn and beans from the neighboring fields, and enjoy the beautiful scenery of this part of the country. This is a view from the side road of the Sisson Farm, showing you the creek, the roughland pasture. I'm going to try and show you some of the wildlife that exists here. This is the 1st of August, and we've had a few flocks of Canada geese come in to spend the day. So it almost looks like they plan on spending a few weeks here because there's nothing right now. They seem to enjoy the peace and quiet here. And of course, being very close to an adequate supply of food. The only problem with these is every once in a while the local hunters want to stock their freezers. And coming up here will be a bridge that goes down the side road on this piece of property. Alongside of this 100 acres. Now driving up the side road. Another potential building site on this piece of property. Consider. Here in this corner, junction of the two roads. Still seriously being considered. A 50-acre piece of property, which is just located down the road next to the property we just looked at, one that we acquired in 1983, sold in 1988. No buildings, 7 acres of bush in the back, but just sold it to Norris Athill, who's going to put a house and a mink farm here. Currently in soybeans. That was part of the Hawkridge operation for the last half of the 15 years we were here. What we see here is what we call the Watson farm. This farm had been in the Watson family for 3 generations. And we purchased in 1981, 100 acres. Watsons, of course, being cousins of the Hawkins family. Beautiful house here. We severed this off. There's approximately an acre of land surrounded with trees. Sold it to Bob and Nancy Trout. Century farm, red brick. You can see here this lot is very well treed to the extent where it's almost difficult to find the house. away from the main buildings. Really 100 acres of land. With 80 acres workable and the rest is bush. Very flat land. Here we are at Anderson Corners, which is almost a historic site now. And this used to be the Anderson store. Little traffic going by there, which we just met on the road. Where everybody gathered on Saturday night 25, 35 years ago. Swap stories about the local crops. And this site now, which is part of the Anderson Corner, used to be the church, which we all attended. It was torn down about 5 years ago, but for many generations represented the religious stability in the community. And on this corner here is where the school was. I attended public school years. Again, torn down about 15 years ago. There's a plaque here. You probably can't read. It's donated to Arthur Meehan. This is where the Right Honorable Arthur Meehan went to school. And his original residence is approximately a mile from here. Old school grounds, of course, is where we not only obtain an education academically, but in other ways. And it's about 1.25 miles from our home residence. And as you look across the landscape here, you can see this bush is the bush in the back of our property. Gives you an appreciation for the landscape that exists in this general part of the country. All Anderson Corners. Not a place you'll see publications. The local place. Country landscape has gone through a transition similar to this is across the road from our home farm, George Batten's residence, and our neighbor used to live here, Stevens family. And this is the adjoining boundary of the two properties. Side view approaching from Anderson Corners. Trailer parked here for the weekend. Family reunion. It's their cousins belong in New Brunswick. The year 1988 has been the worst drought in history. You may notice some of the trees are actually losing their leaves. A lot of talk about it being the greenhouse effect, which will survive for many, many years. Maybe 10 or 20 years from now we'll know whether this is permanent damage or temporary. our backyard, behind the house. Where I try to spend my leisure hours. Here's Janice doing one of her daily chores, which she loves. You want to yell at me one more time?
Well, do this. You can't see my body.
Always complaining about her body. Is either too small or too big.
Would you like a picture of the leaking facilities? Did you get the picture? Hey, I have a picture of these. Hey, McCain's pants.
Oh no. Not Janice's pink pants. No, painting pants. She's turned into a painter. Now this is a yard view of the hill at the beginning of the tape. Here's the hills at the back end of the farm. Shows a considerable work done to it. In the time they were here, Sam blasted the original brick. And the patio door. The pool. Landscaping. We finished the barn. He even moved the old wood pile. Great place to raise a family. Keep them out of trouble. It only works about 10% of the time, of course. But so far, so good. We're at the front of the house. Seeing the original willow tree. Planted by Marjorie, my mother. Familiar car around our residence the last few years. We have the name of Tony Crisp, to whom we have to thank for borrowing his father's camera today. side yard. This is a view from behind the barn to our neighbors. And over here in the distance is Bob Rackless, a self-made mechanic. Uses his place as the Anderson Airport. Always flying some sort of aircraft. Never crashed in our field yet. Don't know why, but congratulations to him. And a view of the back of the farm as we see it from our buildings. And of course this is Glenn Hawkins. View from directly behind the building. As you would see, our garage, back of the barn, which used to be a barnyard covered in store equipment. And this is where we did most of our repair work, at a repair shop. As you walk into this facility, you get a bird's eye view what it was like to work in this very modernized equipment shop. Even a picture of the old original tractor, which we started to farm with. First few years we used this as a livestock facility, raising cattle, and then later turned it into a workshop. Why we never burned the barn down, that's the use of some of the welding equipment, I'll never know. But it has survived the test of it.
Go get it. God, you're a dumb dog.
This is our most recent dog, Bart. Dog number 15, I think.
Go get it.
Obviously quite a vicious criminal.
Don't tell me to go get it. You
But defended the property quite well for many, many years.
Here. Wait, go on.
And of course, Tony's trained him well to even be able to shake hands. And of course, the view from here tells you exactly how we got the name Hawkridge Acres or Hawkridge Hectares. And here we are in a state of disarray, getting ready for the relocation to Carlisle. Looks like a furniture warehouse, more than a workshop. There's the back view of the house. Surrounded by original barn board fence. Barn boards came off this barn when we repaired it. It's inside the barn, showing the many beams that Steve and Laurie and Red crawled across for years and never killed themselves. And this is currently Rhett's secondary residence, where he brings his girlfriends and other friends. All this, of course, being the old hay mow and straw mow. Here's a private washroom for anybody that happens to be in the barn. Obviously a restricted zone. Walking up towards the house from the barn. And past the pool area. We're now going to cross the front of the house and enter the facility. See if there's anybody awake. And immediately in front.
Right, Dad?
What?
I can hit a brother in you either way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're better than me in most everything. What? Ready for some pictures?
You take them. I have a young voice, a young, mature voice.
Yeah?
You're doing it wrong, too.
Yeah.
Take that thing out. Take that thing out. Like that. This is the room where I grew up with Thor for about 3 years. So I'm going to come up here, going in, and I'll meet you upstairs. This is a speaker on the way up to my room. This is my room. Used to be Steve's. There's my bed. My fan, my guitar, my amp. This is where I sleep. Here's another angle.
Looking at the Hawkridge sign, the symbol of a farm. The hawks through the hawk. The 3 sunbeams are for 3 children, and that represents the river at the back of our farm, and that's the ridge at the back of our farm, and these were the crops that we grew: white beans, corn, and wheat. That's simple. And made it fun.
We are now going to do a tour of the inside of Hawkridge Hectares. This is the family room. This is where we spent most of our time while we lived here in 15 years. Oh, lamp shading away. There's Aunt Effie. Aunt Effie up there is the main attraction in the family room. Our gorgeous big bay window. And our stone fireplace. this is the other side of the family room. Our world books, which we use quite a lot. And the bar, main attraction here. And the couch, that's where Dad spends most of his time. Here we are at the bottom of the stairs in the hallway. Front entrance to the house.
I have to take my door
Walking up the stairs.
and the door.
And there we go. The upstairs. Oh, Mom has an important point to show now. The glass door. There she is, looking through her glass door. Isn't that gorgeous?
That won't come out.
No, we can't take it with us. It's a sad story, but it's the way things are. And this is Mom's creation of the new house and the old house. We're not quite sure what she's up to, but that's the junk heap, basically. This is important. We all have to see this in the future. This is the shoe corner. Now that's a very important thing to have in a house, and this will probably be the thing we'll miss the most, is the shoe corner. This is the dining room at Hawk Ridge. And there's Mom's sewing corner. And the rock and stereo. There we go. There is the machine. The stereo of the century. This is the fireplace in the dining room. And that's the junk corner. Now we're moving into the kitchen. This is the Hawk Ridge kitchen, where many, many famous meals have been created. Beautiful stained glass window there. Let's zoom in on that. Can't take that with us either. And there's our trash compactor, which works well. And that's a view of our kitchen. And moving into the corner is Mom's desk.
Don't call it mine, it's all dirty.
Mom's desk. She's embarrassed, but it is. Oh, and there's Mom. Cleaning it, but it's too late. The pig's room. Pig is dying. That's our century-old piano. Front entrance to the house. There's the pig. And we'll just... This is just the junk room. Don't use it for much of anything. And now we'll walk into the back entrance to the house. And into the laundry room. And the toilet. The next room in the house that we'll be viewing is Dad's old office. And Stephen's bedroom. Oh, there's the power weight. That's what I lift. Yeah. Don't show the boys, though. It would embarrass them. This This is what used to be Dad's office, with the desk and his friend Fred. We won't tell you what Fred stands for, but there's Fred. And Mom's doing a little bit of quilting in here. Stairs, and we'll do the upstairs. This is the upstairs hall. And looking downstairs. First room we will enter in the upstairs of this gorgeous house is Dad's office, used as a storage room at the moment. This also used to be Rhett's bedroom for many years. He was raised in this room. Put some lights on, they'll be able to see it a little better. Yeah, we actually squashed Rhett in this room. Now we'll walk down the hall and we'll do Mom and Dad's room. That's where the action is. Mom and Dad's room. Yep. And this is the old man and ladies' room. And we'll zoom in on where it all happens. There we go. Yeah. That's where we just happen to come along out of everything. And this is Mom and Dad's room. The next room across the hall, now being rented out for a low, low fee, is my room, Laurie's room, the favorite daughter, the favorite child, really. And this is her junk pile. Springsteen, the most important part of the room. And her best friends over there in the corner. And that's where the stereo sits. That her younger brother has stolen once again. Yep, a lot of growing up done in here. 15 years. And we'll now walk down the hall to the last part of the house that hasn't been seen, and that's the bathroom. You try and squash 5 people in here at once. This is our bathroom. Cockroaches must be hiding. They're usually out. Guess they're camera shy. And this is our humongous shower. Really should try and get a picture of Dad in it, if he could fit. And that's the door to Rhett's room, but it's private. Do not enter. Or should I say, enter at your own risk. And that's pretty much the tour of the Hawkridge household that we've lived in for 15 years, and we're just about to leave in a week. And this is the most important part of the whole house. It just makes the landscaping at Hawkridge. This is our beautiful willow tree. Right outside our bay window. What a picture of loveliness.
And here we are outside the Hawkridge estate, getting one last shot of the house and the lovely family out front here as we zoom in on them. Starting in the back is Leonard Hawkins, the father and key brains of the family. Next to him is his youngest son, Rhett, age 16. And he's holding on to his wild and crazy daughter, Lori, who is now 20, no longer a teenager, soon to be kicked out on her own. And there's the boss of the family by far, Janice. She's holding a picture of her son that's in Australia, Stephen, who is over there on the exchange doing some farming as we shakily move in on the family here, waving goodbye to the people in the neighborhood and sad to leave their lovely farm. There you have it. August 21st, 1988. Hawkins' farewell to the home farm.
Girl out of the country, but you can't take country out of the girl. You'll always be a farm girl to me. Oh, I gotta see that last part.
There they are. No longer country folk. Next time they come out that door, they will be city slickers.